under there? What's under there? What's under that
God.
table?
Oh, come on.
Y'all.
Like, what is Adam
see
doing?
this?
Open,
Y'all see
What
this?
is under that table?
open the episode with the sight gag. Love it.
Yeah,
Love
Yeah.
it.
That one was just for you guys.
The answer is
I'd
crime.
surprise you. Oh, it's crime? Okay.
A lot of dust.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, I need to clean under my desk.
Oh, man.
There's like a whole banana peel under there.
Listen,
No.
do you have
Nasty.
do you have carpet or hardwood in your
I have a rug on top of hardwood.
Okay.
Rock hardwood.
Rock hardwood. Yeah, obviously. Floors
Yeah.
for sure. We have like 3 animals, and the collection of like dust under my desk is always really impressive because we don't have like carpets. So it all just kind of coalesces. And I'm like, look, it's a whole dog worth of like fur. And that's when I'm like, oh, it's time to clean.
Y'all, we're closing in on episode 50 of this show. That's the whole thing. And we haven't even truly started book 2 yet. Just throwing that out there. We're taking our time with this one. But, we were talking before we recorded that Alkenstar is just so much fun to play in that, like, I'm not in a rush to do anything because I like fleshing it out in the city. And we have this, like, kind of cast of characters that we have in our city. But before we get back into that, last episode we did a little bit of harrowing or a fortune telling. I was curious, have you guys ever had your fortune told? Have you ever sat down and like had cards read for you?
Every day.
Really? Every day?
Yes.
Do you do it for yourself or do you have like a person?
I read my cards.
Yeah. Well, how's that working out for you?
It's
Do you
a
get
really
like
good
fortune effects and like
No, it's not. It's
can
not.
you re-roll when you mistake?
No,
Oh.
it's less. It's less fun. No, it's more. I use it as a opportunity to think through things. It's like if this is coming up, like if I'm making this interpretation of what these cards are saying, this is something that I've been dwelling on, so I need to think about it and
Right.
That's
meditate on that.
Self-psychoanalysis.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's how I've always interpreted fortune telling, right? Like it's not actual divination, you know, it's just a structure of which to force yourself to think about things, right?
Yep.
In certain ways. And, yeah, I've done one like in Jackson Square in the city, cause there's like always like 5 little cardboard tables set up around the square. And I just did it for fun, but like I've really come to appreciate it's like a psychological tool more than it is like, mysticism. I mean, obviously there's some mysticism involved in it, but like all those things that I used to think of as just kind of like
Too woo-woo.
I guess like I never had like that's just stupid opinion about it, but it's like, okay, that's like, it's like, astrology. It's just kind of like,
Hair flip.
yeah, well, it's so generalized that it applies to everybody. And I kind of wrote it off as that. And I've come to realize that so much of it is just a tool of organizing thoughts and feelings. And furthermore, like witchcraft or witchiness, which is obviously very prevalent here, I have a new respect for, because it's all that. It's just about attunement to yourself. Like it's not really saying that you can learn the future here. Yeah. And that's not its intended goal, even though that's how it often gets represented in media and stuff.
Yeah.
There's just more to it than that. And I have a couple decks of actual tarot cards in my closet right now. Just interesting. I find it much more interesting than I used to,
Well, I think because we're willing to actually look into like what we're ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're ready to actually see stuff. So
my heart and mind is open.
Show me. Show me all the paranormal things.
Sorry.
Have you ever had a card reading or a palm reading or anything of that sort?
I've had it's like a channeling
Oh, okay. Like
Like
an exorcism?
what do they call?
Did you have
No,
a
no.
demon in
What do
you?
they call
Like a medium?
the people that have like a medium, a precog or whatever that can like I don't know tap into something.
Read your aura.
Yeah, it was in Portland, Oregon.
Oh, yeah, of course.
That makes sense. That tracks.
Oh my
And
God,
what's bad is there was so much noise I couldn't understand her because she was whispering.
Yeah.
Like I had to like put my ear next to her mouth and I still only got like 5% of what she said. And I was just like, yeah, I was just
Okay, cool. Yeah.
pretending like I heard her. Yeah,
no.
like, God damn.
Hell no. Did you pay money for it?
Someone paid for me. It was like $20. And I was like, I'm sorry, I can't
Speak
hear
up
you.
a little bit.
Yeah, I told her like 3 times, and you could tell that she might have been high as a kite. Her like eyes were like super bloodshot.
In
so-
Portland?
I'm shocked.
Yeah, in Portland. What? Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
But I do believe in all of that stuff. Like maybe not all of it, but there is some aspect of it that is like real.
I
And,
believe in manifestation and intention. And I
Yeah,
think that's
absolutely.
yeah.
Our wills are very powerful, and you can either choose to accept that or deny it. But like, I do believe in the process of positive thinking, and intention is really a great word because that's, like that just focuses you. You know what I mean? Like if you strip away this like pretense of it being magic, it's not. It's a centering kind of thing. But I know that John is probably the skeptic here. I'd be willing to bet my whole.
Listeners, can you hear the eye roll? Because I can feel
Yeah.
it in
But
my bones.
John, just listen to the telepathy tapes on Spotify. That'll convince you.
Let's give the skeptic their chance to speak to it. So, John,
You're
what's
putting
your
me
thoughts
in
on
a
it?
position that I am not trying to defend. All right.
But that's fair. You don't have to. I just wanted to make sure that we didn't just like stomp over your views of this.
No, absolutely not.
It,
Absolutely not. The way that you've explained it is kind of a new way to interpret it for me because I've always just kind of like, I didn't dismiss it, but I also just kind of like, it's just when you don't think about it, I mean, cause it's never really in your exposure in your, in your sphere, then,
right.
That's just really what it comes down to is I just never think about, getting my, tarot read, so it's just, I mean, like, I don't want to say that I dismiss it, but I also am, scientific methodology, but, I don't know.
You calling
Do
me a
you
liar,
think that
John?
there are aspects of our personas, our energy, for lack of a better word, that just cannot be like condensed into a scientific expression?
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. No, I
Yeah.
totally believe that there's like auras and shit, to a degree, But I mean, I think even the interpretations that are out there are probably like half understood. you
Sure.
know?
Yeah.
Sure.
We're just cracking into the very beginning of like just consciousness in general. We say that we understand the brain, but we do not. We don't know
Right.
what consciousness is.
Sure.
Still.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is that, I mean, like, what is just not actually understood is just more discoveries in the making, in my opinion on that. I mean,
That
as far as,
sounds
like,
really
it's just,
intelligent.
it's just frequencies.
Like I believe
you can
you.
just
That
kind of
sounds-
boil it down to kind of just frequencies, and that's
absolutely.
what auras could be. So,
Baby, I'm all about frequencies. Yes.
Oh yeah. Heath, what is your thoughts on the matter?
I am. So I think I'm a little bit in John's camp in that it's like I don't give a shit that much, and I don't say that to be dismissive, but like I
Sure.
don't actively think about it because I think generally I just think of it as kind of mumbo jumbo in the same way as astrology. Like I find astrology interesting, not because I think it's predicting anything, but because of how people's self-centeredness reacts to their perception of their own astrology, right? And how you can get latched onto, I'm a Leo, so this is how I'm expected to act and either fulfill that prophecy or not, That's the interesting thing to me about astrology. But like with the tarot, I know so little about it. I don't know anything about it, which is funny because I'm like pushing for Harrow stuff and I'm like, I've done so much more research and I'm so much more interested in the Harrow in 2E than in tarot in real life because like gods and magic are demonstrably real in the world and like it can be reading the future and also there's like ways to get mechanical benefits from it,
I get mechanical benefits.
I'm sure that you think you do, yes.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, like I do like the interpretation or the positing that you did of it being just a way to sort of like self-reflect. Like I think self-reflection in general is a net good,
Yeah.
So if that's a tool that helps it, I can totally respect that usage of it, But I genuinely haven't thought about it that much, which is where I am kind of with the John thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. You don't have to try to be dismissive to be dismissive, like, it doesn't require.
I just can't win no matter what I say.
Yes, there you go. You got it.
I didn't mean that as like a dig. It's just like,
But
He didn't mean to be
you can
dismissive.
accidentally dig without trying to dig.
Well, but I think it's an accuracy of language thing because we've come to use the term dismiss or dismissive so frequently that it doesn't mean what it means anymore. It means you're saying fuck you to that thing is how we think of it. When dismissing something is just like more neutral than that, it's more like it's just not a part of my life, Whereas people hear you're being dismissive and it's like I hate this thing about you and I won't engage with it. And that's not what dismissive really means.
yeah, it's kind of somewhere in between there. But I'm not really interested in semantics, so I'm going to dismiss that semantic argument. Actually, I love semantics.
Semantics
but
are fascinating.
I just don't want to get into it right now. Yeah, I know you do.
Yep.
See, that was an intentional
That was
dig
pretty
and
dismissive.
and that was a good one. That was a good one. That was good.
There was a lot of intent behind it, though. So I mean, I
There's
appreciate
a lot of personal, there's a lot of personal experience loaded into that. So, well, obviously we're having this conversation because in our story here, we've just had a very intense. Well, we're not even done with the reading. I don't know if we'll finish it. Right? But Nishast has revealed herself because George said the name Asaze and Nishast. Why would you make this name like this, John? Nishast.
Because it's so snaky.
Yeah, and a bunch of S's and H's, and it's a snake name.
Duh.
Cecilia.
We'll say that she has paused the Harrow for now because she is a little freaked out about Asaze appearing and being connected to this card.
George done fucked up.
The last thing that she did was ask George, basically, what the fuck? What do you know about Asaze? Where did you betray him? What's going on? Kind of put him in the hot spot. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, this is the opposite of what I would ever want out of a tarot reading, whether I take it seriously or not. It gets this hostile halfway through it. It's like, you betrayed and killed my friend, and it's like, I'm just in Portland smoking weed. Chill out.
So what is George's response to these?
I mean, I think he's
This got real quick.
flabbergasted because it got real quick, but then it got real accusatory real quick, when he's already in the middle of it's funny the convergence of the journeys on both sides of the table, where she is trying to help him out, but is also low-key, I would assume, trying to investigate Osaze and what's going on with him. He is trying to deal with his own buried down guilt over Osaze, and it's like a freaking train wreck, This one card, the snake bite, which is so appropriate, caused a collision of these two people's intentions of what they were trying to get or manipulate out of this Harrow reading, you know?
And, you know, some greater force also brought you together. Like, she had this notion that there was somebody that she was destined to give a reading to, and you got this pull as you were dealing with your guilt feelings and uncertainties, you know, like, so there's also just kind of this divine influence on this too, you know?
And it's a real vulnerable position to be in as well.
Right.
you
Yeah.
know?
Well, so what do you do?
And action.
I run away. Flip the table. Get out of there.
It's
I
gonna
dismiss
Never catch me.
responsibilities.
Yeah. This isn't real.
Nope. You know what? I'm not into the Harrow. No, I don't know how to proceed. I mean, like, she starts fucking accusing me of getting him killed and badgering me about, you know, where is he? And, like, no matter how this proceeds, it's gonna be devastating to her and likely make her more hostile or aggressive to me, at least in the short term. So, can we take a second real quick to look back at some things, right?
Okay.
Osaze and his whole experience with us, like, George feels a lot of guilt about his role in Osaze's death, even if it was due to short-sightedness. But Nishast, like, I don't know what George knows, if anything, about
Nothing.
Nishast. Like, does he
But
not
I
even
will-
know that she exists?
Probably not, because Osaze never talked about her to you. Now, Amir has met and spoken to Nishast, but he's at the bar
Right.
not really paying attention.
Yeah.
You know? But the last thing that Nishast said to Amir was, you protect him and keep him safe. And give him this locket, you know? Yeah.
Hey, Amir, come here for a second.
I need your help.
I'm going up to my room, going to sleep.
Well, so, I mean, okay, I guess that's where I'm at with George and, like, what he knows and what dots he would be connecting, because obviously she's a Vishkanya, right? And she pulled her mask down and revealed that, right? But it's like, okay, for George, who doesn't even know Nishast was a person, is like, the most he would know is like, okay, this is somebody who is of the same species, who cares about him, so maybe a relative, you know? And, like, that's it. Like, that's all he has to go on.
I mean, John, I'm not mistaking here that this is the reality, right? Osaze didn't really ever talk to the rest of the group about Nishast.
No. I mean, remember, he was 19 years old, and he was still
Right.
just trying to. It was a potential love interest, but also, you know, so it wasn't. He was still trying to figure shit out, you know. So yeah, he was kind of coy around that about that topic.
Okay, I mean, but he did, like, did not, like, ever talk to George.
No, he did not.
Like, I know he took Amir and met her, but, like, around the campfire in the early episodes, we didn't talk about any of that stuff.
No.
Okay.
Nope.
Just curious. Because, like, you know, I know for you, it's like a former character's former love interest, but for me, it's a current, I might be a new knife interest for them, you know? I don't want it to go that way.
Come here, man. I'll show you where a sausage is.
No. That would be awful.
All right, so
I mean, he's, like, stunned, obviously. I mean, and also trying to piece all this together, right? And in the midst of it, he was in the middle of, like, dealing with his guilt about the Osaze thing, and then she immediately is, like, accusing him of the thing he feels guilty about, you know? And it's just like, whoa, I don't know who you are, but I'm starting to get an idea. So maybe it is for the best we pause and talk about Osaze, who was my friend.
And she kind of settles a little bit, says, this disappearing in the unclear row. Perhaps I was hasty. He was very important to me, but we left on bad terms as well. And this card just suggests so much about guilt and conflict amongst family and friends. I must say that this feeling I have, it is aligned with whatever it is that guided me to you. Please, just tell me, what first is us alive?
Slither the Osaze is dead.
So, like, she just sinks, her shoulders slump.
And his do too.
He was always so brash, never careful. Did you have anything to do with his death?
Yes, but not in the way you're thinking.
I am trying to clear my mind of all presumption.
I appreciate that.
I would ask that you do not hold anything back. You tell me what happened to my friend.
All right. Me and my crew were brought together by circumstance, and for each of us in different ways, that circumstance was that something happened to us as individuals that got us wanted by, and he's like lowering his voice because we're fucking public, you know, that got us wanted by the law, whether just or unjust.
Yes,
And so-
I was a part of that for Osaze.
Oh,
Lovelace murdered our adoptive mother.
okay. I think I did know about that, right? Like, did Osaze share the
Osaze-
matrix?
Osaze did
Yeah,
just
yeah,
said
yeah,
that, yes.
yeah.
Okay.
We called her the matriarch, but she was so much more than that for us. And it was Lovelace and her corrupt goons that shot her in her own kitchen.
Yeah, Osaze told us about that. I don't know who you are. Not that I doubt your connection to Osaze, but I did know about the.
He did not
matriarch.
speak of me.
Not to me,
Perhaps.
but we weren't. It took us some time to develop a bit of a relationship. But let me. We're getting ahead of ourselves. So-
Yes, I'll let you continue, but I feel like it's only appropriate to introduce myself. I am Nishast, and it does have as many S's in that name as you think it does.
18.
Yes, 18 S's.
I'm not a good speller. No, well, Nashast, it is. I don't want to lie and say a pleasure to meet you. This is one of the most awkward introductions I've ever had in my life, but I do think a portentous one. And
Saze
maybe it
has
was
a
meant to
way
be.
of creating awkwardness in interaction.
If you only knew.
I do.
Oh, we'll get there. But he's like, so look, we were all on the run, essentially, short version. All of us needed something to come to, right? I think we all kind of answered a call for work on the down low through some contacts we have at this fine establishment. And so we kind of got put together as a crew. We started working together, a few of us. We got it, we kind of got put through the ringer doing some jobs and stuff, and then we got involved with a gang. And that gang was where my being on the run situation came from. And so we had to try to deal with that, reconcile with that. We had to have some dealings with the gang who were pretty pissed at me, and that led to a conflict and a fight. And in that fight, Osaze unfortunately lost his life, ironically, to a large snake who bit him.
She like laughs like despite herself, like you know, like she's embarrassed her laugh, but just the irony of that is the absurdness of it just kind of overwhelms her.
That's how I felt.
She says, First I want to apologize for accusing you of betraying him. I have a lot of feelings and guilt myself. And I think this is why we have been brought together.
Well, if I'm being 100% honest, since that's where we're at, I too feel a lot of responsibility and guilt for the kid. I mean, he's much younger than everybody else in the crew. And I kind of serve in and he lowers his voice just so Jules won't hear. It's like, I'm sort of in a leadership role, gift the gab kind of situation. And also my connection to the gang. And he like almost can't say it, you know, and it's like, got him killed. So if it's anybody's fault, it's my fault.
There is no fault. Life is life and death is death. Though I must say, I have been battling with my own guilt. We left on bad terms. He came to visit me, shortly after the murder of our matriarch, and I shooed him away. I chastised him. Told him he was only bringing danger by coming there. I told him never to come back. But he needed guidance. He was so hot-headed. I loved him, but he was his own person. And while you may feel guilty and I share some of that guilt, he made the decisions that he made. And if he was there, it was because he believed he should be. There's one thing about Osaze is that he never backed away from a cause that he believed in. It will be difficult, but perhaps we should continue this reading, after all.
Before we do, I'm just thinking ahead. This reading's got me thinking of the future and the past, and, maybe we get through this and we can help each other. But that's gonna depend on you. You said that Osaze, when he committed himself to something, he was gonna see it through. Well, I know what he committed himself to before he died.
And what was that?
And he leans in real close, cutting out the heart of corruption in Alkenstar, namely Ambrose Muglin and Angelique fucking Lovelace.
Angelique fucking Lovelace. That bitch can rot in hell. I will do what I can.
6 levels we're gonna put her there.
Yeah, 6 levels.
I will do what I can. I am trying to keep low profile from them as well.
Saying this isn't even what I really look like.
Oh, that's good because I do not like it. No, I'm just kidding.
Jules from across the room. God damn!
Yes, it says, okay, well, let's see what fate has for the two of us, yes?
Yeah, and like a little sheepishly, tries to relax his shoulders a little bit and like trust this person to carry on with it. Let's do it.
Yes, so Osaze's death is the catalyst for this row of cards. That was in the past. Let's see what is in the present. She turns over the next card. This is the traitor. Unclear present.
Trade, not traitor.
Yeah, trader.
Like a salesperson.
Yes.
Tratter.
Trad wife, yeah.
Stop it.
What?
That's one of the Harrow cards. I don't print them.
Okay, so the traitor is a very interesting card. It has a blue man with pointy ears and white hair and big, like, white pointy eyebrows and purple eyes. He's got a very, like, sinister smile, and he's decked out much like you might think of a thaumaturge decked out with all sorts of, like, trinkets and bottles, and he's got a bunch of bracelets. He's got a big, long blue tail. There is a blue monkey hugging his thigh and shin, and he's holding in his hand like a golden bottle.
It looks like a monkey drow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's like
Something for
like
Star
lots
Trek.
of little vials and stuff, and like the monkey and the man almost look alike in a strange way. They're like kind of strange copies of each other. Mm-hmm. And she says, the traitor. In the neutral, this is a perfectly aligned card.
Oh, shit.
This is about the friend you have currently. A card of spies and peddlers alike. Any who trade in information are subject to this card's influence. A bargain made under this card's auspice always concludes true, but the ramifications of the pact might be shocking for those who do not understand its implications. As this is in the unclear row, there's a lot that we can interpret and none that we can know. Given that your intentional focus of this reading is about not losing friends, I'm inclined to believe that this represents a current friend that you have that is unaware of a bargain that has been made for them. Some sort of devil's bargain that is existing outside of their awareness or control. I cannot see clearly through this. Perhaps you have some insight.
Fucking smoke. And he's like, so, you remember how when I phrased it, I said, how do I stop losing friends, plural? We just lost another one. A guy that was in our crew that kind of was a temporary replacement for Osaze, who we were kind of getting to know. Literally, like, right before, I mean, shit just hit the fan and we had to get out of a situation and come back here. And the reason I stormed over here is because I don't know what to do. I need some action to take because now these freaking Clippers have absconded with Smoke, with our other friend.
I believe that because this is fully aligned, there could be some good news to take from this. While loss of friends is the theme of this harrowing, its alignment suggests to me that your friend Smoke is still here. Well, on this plane, I should say. Not here in this bar, or this city even, but you know what I mean. It is unclear, of course, and this is the present card. I believe that all is not lost with Smoke, if that is the name. Yes, that's what you said. That Smoke, his time in your story is not finished. But that is tapping into the future. And I cannot read any more into the future here in the present. But I could at least give you some solace that I do believe he still lives.
Well, I mean, first of all, I hope you're right. And if you're not, then they work fast. But I've just been, this whole time, worried that they're chopping them up into little bits right now, so hopefully you're right.
Let's us look into the unclear future. The rabbit prince is a true match.
Another one. Okay, it was so many misalignments to start with, and
Yeah.
now we're getting there with some matches.
So the rabbit prince is just that on the card. There's a rabbit with a crown with a bunch of red diamond-shaped rubies, I should say. Behind his head is a hourglass, or like a sand hourglass that's tilted. He's holding a broken sword. He's wearing a cloak that is connected by a carrot, like brooch. Is the rabbit prince. She says, the rabbit prince, a quirky fellow who represents the vagaries of hand-to-hand combat. The rabbit prince is battle personified, and nothing if not capricious. As his broken weapon symbolizes, any combatant can fall in battle, no matter how brave or skilled. This card sometimes stands for younger members of royalty or other powerful households. Cannot divine much from this card. Perhaps you will meet someone in your future that is foolhardy but strong. To me, this sounds like Usase, but it can't be. He is dead.
I don't know, not if Amir's got something to say about it for too long.
I was just thinking that.
Excuse me? Excuse me, did you say Amir?
Oh no.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Are you going to accuse me of betraying somebody else?
Well, no, but is he part of your crew or gang or whatever it is?
And he, at this point, I think he's with it, but he's also, been undercover in Alkenstar forever, and it's man, if this bitch was a spy, she is getting it all, you know?
Yeah, for real.
And so he sits there and thinks for a second, and he's like, yes.
Is he here?
Yeah, he's right there. And he points at the bar.
She's like, oh, Jesus, off Rasma, I can't believe I did not see this.
Well, we're
Well,
all
I do
in
look like
disguise.
a-
It's
like, I
fine. We
have
just
the hat
played
of
the
disguise,
the
yeah.
Winkless show.
I gave Amir. I've met Amir. Did you know this?
No.
He was with Osaze when Osaze came back to our house. And I gave him a locket as they were leaving to give to Smoke. And I told him to protect
Osaze?
Smoke.
The smoke?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Osaze. There's a lot going on here. Yes, to protect Osaze. And I gave him this locket. I imagine that he is feeling some of this guilt as well.
Well, I think he took it more personal, more to heart than any of us did.
I will not go to him, but please tell him that I know he did his best. I believe that he did his best.
Okay, I can do that.
All right, let's go forward.
All right. I'm in it.
So we move on now to the bottom row, which is the negative row.
Yeah, this is where it's gonna get rough.
Okay, so the first card is the Peacock.
Ooh.
And this is gonna.
Peacock, Captain, I got fly.
This is on the negative past. The Peacock is it's such a strange artwork.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, it's so disturbing.
It's a creepy rainbow baby. Yeah.
Yeah, with like talon, almost like dragon arms.
Yeah.
I mean, and the baby is totally rainbow striped.
Yeah.
He has a red eye and a green eye. It looks like there's a tentacle spiraling behind its head, and the baby is standing over the fallen head of a statue.
It
like classic
same
like Greek
time-
statue.
it looks like a baby and an old man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
like
really
deep off in
disturbing.
some DMT there. Like,
Yeah.
This is like nothing like a peacock.
No.
No.
yeah, exactly.
This
It
is
is the
nightmare
anti-peacock. Yeah.
Okay, so this is a strange card. This is one that has disturbed me every time that it has come up. I do not understand it. Perhaps you may. The peacock is a creature of astonishing and colorful appearance, one that can cause the onlooker to freeze in their tracks at the sight of such beauty or ugliness. Wiser people accept the passage of time and dance out of the peacock's way. Its appearance always signifies a sudden personal shift in attitude or societal change. I think that this is the part we must focus on. It is in your past. And you said that the death of your mentor caused chaos and disruption in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Did this cause a personal shift in your attitude of what your goal was? Has your goals changed as a result of this? Think bigger than Mugland or Loveless. This is the worst thing about you, or the best thing about you, that has changed to the opposite.
I mean, the goal, I don't think has ever changed. It's just strengthened. I still want the same thing I did before, which is to take down Muglin and all the fucking corruption and everything that keeps the people of Alkenstar down. What changed is my methodology, my belief in how you can go about changing that. I thought I could make a difference, and then I had a rude realization that the way I was trying to do it just got people I cared about killed. And
I urge you to continue to focus on this part of you. Your approach. While you might have the same goal, your approach may need to shift to something more mysterious or unfocused. I cannot give you any more than that. And the night grows long, so we must continue. So she moves on to the middle card of the bottom row. The negative present, another true match.
oh wow.
This is the beating.
Oh shit!
I'm about to get my ass kicked
You
right
about to
now.
get beat, man.
The beating has a man in rags, in like tattered rags, leaning against a dead tree. There's a red blood moon behind him and a bunch of like cloaked onlookers behind him looking at him, and there's wisp of tendril black smoke coming up from the bottom of what looks like maybe a log stack or a stick stack or something like that.
Yeah, it's very confusing because you don't know if he's about to beat it or he's about to get beat.
Yeah. The beating signifies coming under attack from all sides, but it also indicates the dissolution of the self, mentally. Whether the strength is of the flesh or mind, it dissolves under the relentless attack. I think that this is as simple as that your present is in chaos and all angles are trying to stop you. What I can say is that it is because truly aligned, that you have the opportunity to overcome these challenges. Let us look at the final card of your harrowing. She turns over the negative future, and we see the Teamster. The Teamster is a neutral card, and it has some weird horse dog hybrid. I guess it might be a warg of some sort. Chained to a treasure chest that is, it's like running and being pulled, upon which a goblin is holding on for dear life, and like has like a cat of nine tails or something like that, whipping this steed forward through a field of thorny vines. She says the teamster is a driving external force that keeps the subject going, no matter what. This force can be physical or mental. As a person who exhorts others to continue on when they have no more strength to give. The force can be for good or ill, but can't be ignored. The larger figure depicted is leading a life of constant toil, but for their own betterment. Perhaps this is representative of a new friend that will join you. But I cannot say if this will be truly an ally or a foe. All I can say is that whoever it is singularly driven at all costs to meet their goals. And that concludes our Harrow.
Yeah. That sounds like John.
You know, and I want to fast forward through some stuff because we took a lot of time here with the harrowing. You know, before we do that, I'll let you kind of give your final words to Nishast, and then I'm going to fast forward in time a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think for George, the last section was where he had the most difficulty between her interpretation and his own self-analysis, right? And so, like, the peacock and the beating and the teamster, from her perspective, was a lot of external stuff, and I think he is seeing himself in that, right? Because what really got his kind of brain working was that question of like, was there a point at which your goals changed, right? And no, his goals didn't change, but he's been, I think, either consciously or subconsciously reflecting on what his role as a leader in this party is with this, because he's got a lot of guilt about losing people. And so I think more than looking forward to a friend in the future, he is taking that under advisement, but is like thinking about his approach and how because we're going past to present to future, that's the nature of the Harrow, is in the past he tried to do it all himself, right? Like being undercover, taking all the responsibility on himself, being in charge of the gang, even in secret, was all him putting every bit of weight on his shoulders and not trusting other people. And I think his sort of interpretation is different than hers of the last three cards, where he's seeing in it the potential for a personal shift from motivating the self to motivating others, right? Like he feels guilty about losing people that he's cared for and that keep coming into his sphere, and he, I think, has a little bit of something akin to a breakthrough personally, where he's like, whatever I'm gonna do moving forward, if I want to prevent losing loved ones and losing people I care about, I've got to focus on them instead of focus on trying to run things and be like in control. Like I need to lift them up because rising tides raise all ships kind of thing, as opposed to I've got to wrangle them into doing what I want them to do. So I think it's, you know, he's reflecting in that end moment on his sort of personal leadership style and how it's been very selfish. You know,
so there's a lot for you to digest here,
right?
And so what I'm going to say is, like, you guys finish, you know, drink or whatever, but you're tired and sleep for the night with all these different things going on. You know, Well, first things first. This is episode 45, so everybody take a hero point.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool.
But just reset your hero points to 1 is basically where we're at. Okay. In the morning, Dunsmith returns and invites you to the back room for breakfast and a little debrief.
The fuck have you been? No, I'm kidding.
And so, once you guys get settled and get your breakfast going, she comes in looking a little worse for wear, like she's been working all night, And she says, well, I have another problem that needs solving. And I think it's right up your alley. The gunslinging bartender sighs. I mean, it pays well, and it'll get you even closer to settling your score with your old friends, Ambrose Muglin and Deputy Angelique Lovelace. Last night, we got reports of a flying clockwork monster spotted over Hammer Street in the Ferris Quarter. It flew over the Estrade due east before leaving the city entirely. Dunsmith indicates the general area on a map of Alkenstar. One of the sentries at Alkenstar Castle got a good look at it and said it was a clockwork cat with big bronze wings, with somebody riding it like a steed. We checked with the Temple of Bry, goddess of clockworks. They keep a tight rein on which clockworks get made in Alkenstar. Turns out, nobody's filed the paperwork for any clockwork cats. According to the Bryites, there's just one obvious suspect. Dunsmith slides a charcoal sketch across the table. The sketch shows a gaunt-faced man with bushy hair, thin lips, and a broad nose. An intense stare on his face. This is Alaman Kasawana, one of the church's former primary cogs, the second highest rank one can attain with the Bryite priesthood. A real whiz with clockworks. Apparently, plus anything he sets his mind to. Curious to a fault, you might say. He was booted from the church a while ago for breaking protocol and promoting heretical conspiracy theories. Last time anyone saw him in public was at our friend Vashon Gattleby's Pyronite demonstration. Dunsmith raises her eyebrows meaningfully. Casawana kept a low profile till recently, doing his own thing at his workshop in the Ferris Quarter. We got a few complaints from neighbors of loud booms coming from the workshop, but nothing serious. Well, the same night Sentry saw that flying clockwork cat, one of Casawana's neighbors says he saw the old man fleeing the premises with some gun-toting goons in pursuit. Sounds like one of the local gangs broke into the place and our man hightailed it out of there. Now here's where it gets interesting. One of the robbers matches the description of our old friend, Ambrose Mugland. Dunsmith clasps her hands behind her back and turns around to study the whiskey bottles lining one of the walls. Now maybe it's a coincidence that Mugland, who failed to capture Gattleby, leads a gang of toughs to grab this Casawana guy just a few nights, a week later. But I don't believe in coincidences. I want you to check it out. She drops a cloth sack on the table that lands with a satisfying clink. Go search Casawana's workshop and talk to his neighbor. The priest at the Temple of Bry will have the address. While you're at the temple, maybe see about looking into whatever heretical poppycock got Casawana in hot water with the Bryites. Could give us some clues as to where he went. At any rate, the Duchess wants you to find him before Mugland does. Ensure his safety and find out what he knows. If he managed to figure out the Pyronite formula, bring him in so we can keep him safe. The bag that she dropped on the table contains 200 gold piece.
Nice.
I will drag that into your party sheet. But
John doesn't get any of it.
No, John gets none of it.
Rude.
You can certainly add or ask any questions that you...
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty promising looking lead. I guess, we have agreed to help out the Duchess, but we were kind of looking for you because we needed a favor as well.
Shoot, what you got?
Well, you remember Smoke?
Vaguely, yeah. He's that kind of tough-looking feller that came in here with you last time he was in. And I invited him to be part of our disruption process here. Yeah.
So you might have noticed he's not here.
Right, I just figured he went back to his little gang hold up. He's a powder keg punk, right?
Yeah, but he didn't go back to his gang. In fact, I was planning on maybe going and having a chat with Glass because Smoke got snatched. There's some kind of hobgoblin. Yeah.
I mean, they came around while you was gone, and they started asking around for him again. And I said I didn't know where he was because honestly, I did know, but I was pretty good at convincing them. Somewhere along the line, they must have found out where you were at. I don't know. It's not good, I'll tell you that. But my guess is they're taking him back to where he came from. But the troublesome part about this is they gotta cross the desert. You gotta cross the Scar Desert to get there.
So you know something about these hobgoblins? Can you?
A little. I mean, I know that they have a culture of if you're involved with their army or something like that. That if you leave, they'll send a squad of, I don't know, they call them catchers or snatchers or something like that. It's far away, so I don't know much. They don't usually come out this far, but it must have been something serious for them to come all the way across the desert to try to get him. Or I guess they did get him.
So you know who captured Smoke and you know where they are taking him.
I have assumptions. I don't want to say that I know, but given who was looking for him, that would be my first inclination. And I don't know where they're taking him other than back to his homeland, where they come from. And I know that they got to cross the desert to get there. That's all I know. I'm sorry. I wish I knew more. I'll ask around. I'll reach out to my contacts and see if I can find anything more. But these are professionals. They know what they're doing. I mean, they found him somehow here.
That was pretty evident because they were smooth operators. During the commotion, they showed up and took him before we could even react, and he was gone.
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of irons in the fire, but I mean, we don't want to let him just get away with Smoke. So yeah, if you can ask around and
I will.
He's like stressed out, but he's like, also, I got another favor to ask.
All right.
All right, if we're gonna go traipsing off and trying to find some clockwork doctor or whatever, and then also maybe try to find a lead on Smoke, could you keep an eye on somebody for me? Just make sure nothing happens to them, that they're okay, that they're safe if they're here.
Sure.
Yeah, and he's talking about Nashast, so I don't know if you want me to call Nashast over. Or
no, you could just kind of describe them.
Point her out.
That's that kind of shadowy person that's been in there in the corner the last couple of days. So she's on the up and up. You want me to make sure she's safe?
You said Nashast?
And he turns, he's like, yeah.
She's here.
And I think she
creepy
needs to be
woman
here.
in a robe in the corner, that was Nashast?
Yeah, she just did a Harrow reading for me earlier, and
last night.
That technically is earlier. Phoebe. He's like, yeah, I met with Nashast. I didn't know who she was. Something kind of drew me over there. She obviously must have been poking around looking for Osaze. Man, I'm not normally into the, I use the Harrow for gambling, but she did a reading and there's something here. Something wanted her to find us, and I think she's gonna be a part of this. And she was, as you know, close to Osaze.
Well, I didn't know that. Oh, you're talking. I'm sorry.
As Amir knows.
Yeah, right. No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to butt my nose in there. I'll make sure that she's safe. She'll be as safe as she could be, I guess, here. As far as Smoke, I mean, I don't want to be a bearer of bad news, but it is unlikely that you're going to be able to catch up with him. The one bit of news that I can give you is that they don't capture to kill. You know, they capture to bring him back to his duties. So I don't think you have to worry about him being extinguished, as it was. But I mean, I'm sad for that happening to him, but it's kind of part and parcel with whatever it was he was up to, and we got a pretty serious lead here that could fly through our fingers if we don't jump on it. I mean, this Casawana feller apparently got on the back of a flying cat, and who knows where he's headed, you know? And I don't know. I mean, I don't want to sound callous like I don't care about Smoke, but you are my crew.
Right.
And I think it's just a bigger problem that there could be potentially Pyronite out there right now. Yeah. Or at least the formula for it.
All right. Well, I do think, maybe I'll have to put a pin in it for now, but at some point I'm going to need to go and speak with Glaz and at least kind of let them know what happened with Smoke. I mean, we kind of had him on rental, but we can deal with what we need to deal with,
At least he won't be killed, so that's... He's alright, right? He's just getting back to work at his previous employer, right? So he's okay. Let's go catch the flying cat with wings.
Well, when you say it like that, it sounds really absurd. But I mean, every twist and turn of this whole endeavor has been strange, to say the least.
It's like, how much closer can a situation get to being a wild goose chase? Like,
you have no idea.
Literal sense.
Yeah. So that's all I got for you now. You can go ahead and take this 200 if you need to.
I do have one question.
Yes, Amir.
You mentioned that there were people with firearms after this Kosawana.
Mm-hmm.
Can you be more specific? What kind of people with firearms? What did they look like? What were their firearms?
The only real details that we got was that they were... They all wore clothes of black, gilded with gold filigree, and all their weapons were gold.
That is...
Would I know?
Well, all of you would know, because you've seen these folks before. They were the crew that Mugland hired for protection, and it was like shaking them down like, what's up here,
I believe they are on Mugland's payroll.
Yeah, that sounds like it. I mean, he was with them, and I mean, if it's who I think it was, is the Gilded Gunners, and they don't mess around. I mean, y'all have been doing something to him, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, and just simply by the fact that Mugland desperately wants to get to him, we need to get to him first.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Agreed.
I mean, I think your best bet is to go to the temple, get the address, and go to his apartment and see what he was working on. You might find some clues to where he left, where he went to. But I don't know. You gotta start somewhere, I guess.
All right. Good luck, Smoke. And Jules would just slam the rest of her drink. Because this seems so...
shitty.
Yeah. I
mean, for what it's worth, Phoebe
gets it.
Looks at you. Yeah, she looks at you sympathetically and says, "Look, I know that it's tough. There seemed to be a little bit of spark between the two of you, but he's going to be all right. You know, they didn't kidnap him to kill him, you know.
That's the
he got away-
interlude adventure, but before we go to the next adventure,
Yeah.
let's go
You know,
and rescue
he
and
got
Smoke.
away from him once. Maybe he can get away again. I don't know.
Smoke can handle himself.
All right, let's go. A flying cat? Really? Is that?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah,
A
I'm
clockwork
struggling with it.
flying cat.
I
This
mean,
fucking
you know
city.
what? All right, Alkenstar. Shit.
So you guys, head to the temple then?
Yep.
Is Nasha still here?
She's
she
not
stay
there
the
in the
night?
morning. She's not like out and about at the morning. She's presumably still at, you know, she does have room rented, but she's not out in the morning.
Well,
know.
I was gonna say before we leave, like, could I ask Phoebe for a room number and like I just want to.
I'm sorry,
talk
that's
to her.
private. I
Yeah.
can't give out room
Okay,
numbers.
I'm not trying to have sex with Nasha.
No, it's not really about that. It's more just about, you know, if I tell you the room number, it's just policy. I'm sorry, you know.
You're really gumming up the works here.
Yeah.
Look, I could deliver a message to her if you'd like.
I guess if that's all I can get.
I mean, she's been pretty regularly holding down that corner table around pretty much 6 o'clock on the midnight, doing readings for people, you know?
Well, why don't you just tell her what I told you, that if you would look out for her, make sure she knows she's safe here, and, you know, she's probably got some conflicted feelings about me and the crew as a whole, but if you would, tell her she's safe here. I encourage her to stay here if she needs to, and also that I believe in her, and I would very much like to continue our conversation.
I can do that. Tell you what, I'll do you one better. I'll set her up in one of our secure suites. All right?
All right, that would
Make
be
sure
great.
I'll let her know that she's got our protection. She's safe here at the Barrel Bullet, you know. Hopefully she'll take to. I don't ever make anybody do anything, but hopefully she'll see that this is the best place for her to be. Is there any particular danger I should be looking out for regarding her?
I don't know, but I just get
Like a flying dog, maybe? I'm just kidding.
maybe, but I don't know, but I just get the feeling, the intuition that we're gonna need her, or at least I am, in the future.
All right. Well, I'll do my thing and you do your thing. Like maybe come back for dinner later tonight, depending on what you find or get up to. I don't know. I'll be here. I'll make sure she's here.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Of course. And so I imagine you head towards the temple, maybe
Yeah.
kind of filling each other in on everything that's just transpired. You know, like really catching Amir up with your harrowing, you know, kind of
Right.
telling him all that, like letting Amir know that she doesn't hold a grudge on him and that she kind of sees him as another person sharing in this guilt over Saza's death. You know what I mean? And she's trying to help alleviate that for all of you, including herself.
She said she knows you did your best.
Yeah.
I do not think that I can face her quite yet. But it is some consolation that she doesn't harbor ill feelings toward me.
Yeah, I thought she was gonna stab me, so I think you're all right.
I would not wish to be in your situation at that moment. I feared that I would not be able to handle it. But
She's gonna be important, man.
she is important.
All right. Well, at least we got a job to do.
All right. So you head to the Temple of Bry.
Right.
Going to Cheese Church.
Yep.
Jeez, church.
That's right. I got my hat of disguise on. I look like a portly merchant. Potbelly.
Nice.
He's bald on the top, but he's got long hair on the sides.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Nice.
Into it. Tell him I said what's up.
All right, so yeah,
I look like a college girl. So.
Okay, so you head to the Temple of Bree, and
It's not
Bri.
Bri.
right, and when you get there, like the attendant in the lobby or whatever notes that Dunsmith has put a word in at the temple and arranged for you to meet with the tertiary cog of the formal priestess who deals with the church's public affairs. And so they lead you into this kind of like little chamber room where you guys can speak. And the temple itself is just like covered in gears. Like to open the door, it's like 5 gears just to just open like a simple door, you know?
Listen, Jules is like, ooh, that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
Jules is like about it.
yeah,
George is like
baby.
rolling his eyes like, how many fucking mechanisms can you put on a
Right.
door?
Just over-engineed.
Once you get set up in the room, this woman walks into the room, and she's accompanied by a dwarf in like pretty good shiny armor that also has like clockwork imagery on it, you know, and that dwarf is carrying a large leather-bound book fastened together with, of course, bronze gears, you know, like the lock. Yeah, it's really cool or whatever. And she comes in and she says, my name is Tertiary Cog Mentakis. I was informed that you would be sent by Dunsmith, a friend of ours, to investigate one of our broken cogs. Please sit and let us discuss.
All right.
We
Don't
sit.
mind if I do.
Ask what questions you have. And so, like, she sits and the armored dwarf kind of stands next to her chair, book in hand.
All right. Flying cat.
Exactly.
Excuse me?
You know anything about a flying cat? Clockwork cat?
I mean, not really, although I did hear about it, and the proper paperwork was not filed for such a clockwork construction.
So what? I mean, is that a problem? Like, should people not be making clockwork cats without your express approval? I don't really know how it goes. You know.
It is just customary that we are aware of all clockwork mechanisms in Alkenstar. But you came here to speak of clockwork cats? I might be misunderstanding the purpose of your visit.
So, what specifically is the reason for our visit here? We have this guy named Alawana Kasawana.
Alaman Kasawana was a former, was a former cog here. This is what Dunsmith told you, and she believes that they might have records of where he lives.
I'll just say, like, my friend George here, he likes to get straight to the point. And the biggest detail of our current mission was the flying cat, clockwork cat, with wings. But the primary focus is the person piloting or saddling this clockwork creature, Alaman Kosawana. We are here to see if we can get any information regarding this person, to see maybe where he might have gone and his motivations. Basically, anything you can tell us on the matter would be very
question.
helpful.
Did they say broken cog?
Mm-hmm.
Is that
Yeah, like he got kicked out of the church.
okay?
Whatever.
Oh,
Is
yeah,
that
broken.
okay? All right.
Excommunicated.
So Mintakis raises an eyebrow. We should describe Mintakis. She is a very beautiful woman, dark-skinned with dark hair, and is wearing a white hooded robe with a clock that serves as the fastener, and it's white and gold kind of trimming everywhere. And she says, in mild surprise, "We haven't kept up with the goings-on of the former primary cog for quite some time. In accord with Regulation 1452, Alaman Kasawana is no longer associated with our temple." She turns to the dwarf, who opens the complex clockwork book. She turns to the dwarf, who opens the complex clockwork latching mechanism on his book, and he quickly locates the appropriate passage, 14.52, and hands the book to the party, pointing to a heading that reads Regulation 14.5.2 so that you can read along, while the dwarf recites the text from memory.
All components shall advance the functional or aesthetic qualities of the device. Any component which does not serve the whole shall be excised.
The acolyte closes the book as he finishes the last phrase. Mintakis nods, eyes closed, savoring the logic of the words. So it was with primary cog Kasawana. He chose not to serve the church, so he was declared superfluous to our needs. He continues to serve the Whisper in Bronze in his own way, perhaps, but not in any official capacity. I believe his workshop is on the Ferris Quarter along the river, 3 blocks west of Hammer Street.
So you mentioned that he does not serve the whole, so he was excised. In what way did he not serve the whole?
Mintakis frowns and pauses to consider the question. Regulation 475 guides us, she says. She gestures to the dwarf, who recites the passage from memory.
It is not for the gear to determine how it will turn, but for the maker to set the design. Each gear must work with those beside it, or else the device will fail.
Mintakis nods. Olaman found himself fascinated with some of the less accurate records in our archives, from which he formed a peculiar worldview. Instead of helping to grow the knowledge of the faith, he fell victim to lies and half-truths. Grand Cog Lanalier finally had to ask him to retire from public duties to prevent further embarrassment.
So would you describe Mr. Alabama Castlevania as a conspiracy theorist?
Yes, in a manner of speaking.
And
You
what
mentioned lies.
exactly?
Go ahead. Sorry, Jules.
What exactly is it that he learned, or what he was studying, or whatever? That
At that, the dwarf recites another passage in response, Regulation 317.
In order to truly create an original device, one must first create the entire cosmos. All makers build upon those who have come before, and it is the duty of every maker to leave a foundation for future makers to build upon.
Mintakis nods again in agreement, then elaborates. Even old texts rife with error are retained by our order, but some stories from the past are meant as allegory, or require heavy revision or annotation in the light of new understandings. Alaman took a few such stories literally, and it infected his work, his teaching, even his mind. You must understand, every religion has those who believe they have cracked the code or uncovered truths that generations of researchers before them have missed. When presented with evidence, these people merely invent a bigger conspiracy to explain away the incongruity that allows them to maintain their beliefs.
oof.
So, what insights can you give me into what he believed?
I have very little. Alaman and I have not spoken since he left the church years ago. All I can do is direct you to his workshop. Perhaps his neighbors may be able to provide you with some information that you seek. You may also have access to our sacred library to perhaps study the text that he was reading. And you see the dwarf kind of tense up at that and look very intently at Mintakus, and kind of stressed or questioning, and she turns to the dwarf and says, Sir Bruce, you will be given special privileges to accompany these three into the archives. As you well know, this is not given to many people in our order. This is a sacred charge that you are being given. Do you understand?
Tertiary Cogman Talkers, if this clockwork is unsanctioned and Alderman Kosawana is potentially involved, it would be my honor to serve the whole per Briggs designs.
It's Bry. That is something that has always...
We've had this discussion. I'm sorry, Tertiary Cog, but I just cannot pronounce it. I just can't pronounce it with this accent.
This, yes, agree to disagree.
It's a difference in our regional dialects. I understand.
Mm-hmm. We all have our individual ways we worship our goddess.
So, for what it's worth, this is a big deal because most of the people that serve Bry/Brig are not allowed access to these archives. Particularly the asynchronous archives, which is like a library below the library. It's like the secret text, of the sacred library.
Section.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so what's funny is a lot of if you don't serve Bry, you have much more likely access to this library.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it's like this twisted control thing of the religion.
We gotta protect the knowledge from those who would most be able to use the knowledge,
or do like Alaman did and have something discovered that's twisted.
Yeah,
twists the teachings.
Yeah.
So here's the deal about that. She says, unfortunately, it's as the gears turn, inventory will be conducted of the library, a regular scheduled inventory in which everybody must be cleared out. You have 16 hours before this happens. I trust this to be enough time for you to conduct any research you may have. And that she kind of looks at you and says, if that is all, I have much things to tend to. This is Sir Bruce Martell, champion of Bry, and he will escort you into the library. And we'll see you.
To the library!
Oh, Bruce, eh?
Yeah.
Bruce Martell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Continuing
Bruce
the lineage.
Martell. I can't.
Thanks for listening to the STF Network. If you want to hear more from us, check out our other Starfinder and Pathfinder shows at thestfnetwork.com. That's thestfnetwork.com. and support us on Patreon to listen to our bonus podcast, including our homebrew adventures and Tom Talks, our behind-the-scenes show. Stay groovy, possums.